Hello, bookworms, bibliophiles, and lovers of all things literature. Welcome to the next chapter of the Braless Book Guild podcast, where we discard our bras and shove recommendations in each other's faces to talk about books, both published and unpublished. We are your hosts, Jenna.
Hi.
I'm Marissa, and this is Megan.
Hello.
Before we get started, like always, let's talk about what we're drinking.
I'll start today. I am drinking the pumpkin chai latte tea that Megan brought, and it's actually quite delicious. I'm really excited to try it.
You guys and your gross pumpkin stuff.
We're basic white girls.
You don't like pumpkin?
I don't like pumpkin. I'm the apple side of fall stuff.
She also doesn't like pineapple, which pretty much like nullifies everything in summer too. So she's or cheese. You know what? You're weird.
Okay, this is a Bully Marissa podcast. We're moving to what I'm drinking. It's the mandarin orange spice that Jenna brought over.
Delicious. Good one.
I am drinking my tasty tangerine from Bigelow, and I attempted to make it ice, but it's still pretty lukewarm.
Yeah, mine's a little lukewarm too. I just don't think there was enough ice to counteract the 200-degree water we poured on top of it. It's fine.
Yeah, you guys are good. All right, so we're going to start off this episode by you guys trying to convince me to read a book.
What book are we convincing you to read?
What was the Dead Romantics? That was one that you brought up?
Yeah, we brought it up in our first episode.
Yes. So Megan and I have both read this book. Marissa has not yet. I think we talked a little bit in the first episode about how I keep telling her to read it. So this is a perfect book for us to convince her to read.
Important question, though. Do you want spoilers?
Ooh.
I don't want big spoilers.
Okay.
If it's like mild spoilers that help convince me, also to be careful of if we're convincing other people to read this book to
Fair.
Right.
avoid major spoilers, but no, not like big ones, because I like to be, surprised and
Yeah. Okay. So, what would you have given this on a scale of 1 to 10? How likely would you have been to read this book?
just based off of the very little that I know about it, probably like a 3 or a 4.
Okay. First of all, I think the wonderful thing that I didn't realize about all of Ashley Poston's books is that there's representation everywhere. Even if this book is traditionally a heterosexual romance, but there's representation everywhere. So I think both of her siblings are gay.
Right. And then there's there's a non-binary.
Character. Yes. And yeah, there's just I didn't know that going into her books, but everywhere. Representation, so you're not going to be alone. It's not like, oh, look at all these heterosexual people walking around the street. So there is that. And it's got the best, Addams Family, creepy and kooky vibes with her family. And her family feels like our family if we ran a mortuary.
Right. So they basically, the plot line is she is a ghostwriter for a very prolific romance author. And the love interest is I think her editor, right?
Yeah, her new editor that she literally, just met right before she finds out that, her dad died.
Right.
And so she met him. He was kind of a jerk.
Gruff.
And, it's the trope of the grumpy guy with the sunshiny girl, which is funny because she's the sunshiny girl going to her family who owns a mortuary. And it's all about death and dead. And the thing is her family is kooky and weird, and her dad and her see dead people.
Yep, they can see ghosts.
So,
which it's right in the beginning.
Yes,
so it's not
they tell you right away.
It's right in the beginning.
She can see ghosts and her dad can see ghosts, but they're the only ones in her family that can. So when her dad passes away, she's alone now. And it's kind of there's something hinted at that something happened in her past. So it's not something that she freely talks about or necessarily feels comfortable with. It's hinted at. I won't give anything else away with that, but she sees dead people, and parents are literally Morticia and Gomez. They just are so in love. And it's just because of that, she believes in true love, and then there's the grumpy love interest.
What would you guys say the reading difficulty of this book would be? So much as is it highly level written where you're very, or is it super easy, quick reading?
So
or
to compare it to, like, I would say, like, high level would be, like, the Night Circus, where it's, like, every description means something and has, like, a lot of, like, flowery writing. It's not like that. It is flowery, but in an easy way to understand. Think of it more, it's more like a adult rom-com feel to it, but it has so much feels involved that it's like, gosh, it's so hard to explain. Like,
it's got feels, it's got supernatural, it's got...
Oh, right, we didn't get to that part. So basically, her editor becomes a ghost.
Yes.
And starts haunting her.
Oh.
So he doesn't really understand why he suddenly is just near her, and she's like, look, how do I break it to you? You're dead. Like,
right.
He's like, wait, what? Like, and she's like, yeah, obviously you've got something going on that's, like, keeping you here. And he's like, but I don't understand. Why am I with you? And
well,
so
she has an unfinished manuscript.
She has
an
unfinished manuscript. And so they just
haunting her to finish the manuscript.
The unfinished business is literal business.
Literal business, yes.
Yep.
So there's like supernaturalness. There's like the feel good, cute rom-com things. But because the like love interest is a ghost, it's not so straightforward of like, meet cute and they fall in love and everything's perfect.
Also haters to lovers as well.
Yeah, also enemies to lovers and like not instant romance, and it deals with grief and death in a way that's not super heavy. Like,
yeah,
it's heavy, but it's not to the point where you're just like, oh
it's
my
too
god,
much,
I want
right?
to
It's so
cry. I just want to
depressing,
lay in bed thinking about the fact that I'm losing everyone and everyone's gonna die. It deals with grief and all of that. It's really good.
And like I said in my the first episode talking about it, it basically, it deals with grief in such a unique way, but I think it hits people in like different ways. So like I said, I was crying because it was one, sad, but also just like beautiful and uplifting almost.
Yes.
In a way, like I think I cried 5 times throughout that whole book just because it was just beautiful. But also, how do you make death beautiful? She did it.
Also, I was going to say it deals with like family.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's
so
such a
well.
big thing, yeah.
Like,
Family.
there's a love story and there's all of that, and there is like overcoming your trauma and all that. The whole idea is that she's having a hard time writing about romance because she broke up with her boyfriend and now she doesn't believe in love anymore. And, like, she has a hard time because her parents are Morticia and Gomez, essentially. Like, they're so in love, and she always thought that she'd just fall in love and everything would be perfect and beautiful, and she'd write epic romances about things, and then she has a hard time with it now because of this breakup. There is that side of it, the romance and the you know, like, rom-com feel, but it's almost more of a family story.
I agree.
And I think it's more about accepting who you are and your family, and, like, there's, like, tension between her and her sister.
Right.
And you don't really fully understand why there's tension, and then there's tension with her and not feeling like she fits in with her family because she can see ghosts and they can't, and
she didn't want to be a mortician.
She didn't want to be a mortician, and it's almost more of a story about family than about the romance, although there is like that side of it too.
Mm-hmm. I think, that would be the one thing that you guys talk so much about, the romance, especially because she's a romance writer in the book and everything like that. Like,
she's got writer's block though, so.
Yes.
Yeah, and so the focus is on the romance, so that was one of the things that pulled me off of it, because it's like, I don't mind romance sometimes, but not if the book is like mainly romance. I need the just the other side of it as well. I can't rely on like a 90% romance and like 10% plot.
Right.
That's fair.
So yeah, I can't have it if it's just mostly romance.
I'd say there's a little bit of romance that generally like holds the story together and gives it like the structure, but the overall storyline is mostly about her and her like accepting who she is and healing her family dynamic.
Yeah.
I'd say is the bigger arc of the story.
What's interesting to me is that I read this last year, but I completely forgot about a lot of the stuff that you've been talking about. I'm like, oh yeah, so I think it's time for me to do a reread.
You know what's funny is that I read this last year too. I think we read it about the same time. And I forgot how much of it I loved until we started talking about it. And I was like, oh, I liked this and this and this and this. The sister in it reminds me so much of Marissa that I feel like I want her to read it just for her.
Just for the sister character.
And like, it's funny because the brother in it kind of reminds me of our brother, but like also completely not like our brother. And then obviously our parents were not mortician. But
No, that did not last.
and we were not morticians.
Sadly.
That would have made a much more interesting story life.
The dynamic of...
But the dynamic of the family feels very similar, and it made me think a little bit about our family as we read it. And I ended up actually giving it to my mom, and my mom thought the same way. She was like, oh, it kind of reminded me of our family if me and your dad had been completely in love. And I was like, yeah, that's fair.
You know, you guys didn't get married when you were 19. And
Yeah, exactly. Fair. So have we convinced you to try it?
try it, possibly, yes. I think the family part is what will get me into it a bit more. The family and the, like, mortician side of it. Definitely am still a little bit turned off by the romance side of it. Not only because, you know, like, heterosexual side, because I will, like I said, I've read heterosexual romances and enjoyed them. But, I think it's one of those weird, like, in my head, all I can think is those, like, ridiculous romance stories of, like, oh, I'm in love with a ghost and I can't touch him or do anything, and it's so dramatic. And so it's like, that part kind of turns me off of it a little bit. But, I'll give it a try.
I would say the romance is incredibly secondary because it doesn't even start to feel romancy until
the last 70 or the last 20%-ish.
Yeah, I was gonna say probably you get 70% of the way through the book, and then the last 30% is like, okay, there's a romance aspect to it. It feels almost more like, rather than I'm in love with the ghost, it's like he's trying to help me believe in romance again.
Right. But not in the cringy way.
Yeah, not in
like,
a cringy way.
Romance is dead.
More in the like, look, this is your freaking job. Can you write your gosh darn manuscript?
And that's what I loved about it, was because it had the haters to lovers kind of thing.
Yeah.
More so, and then the romance slowly picked up from there.
Yeah. We've talked about the fact that I enjoy romance books, so like if there was no romance, I probably wouldn't have been as interested in this. But I also probably wouldn't have even noticed that there wasn't romance until I got to the end and went, wait, nothing happens. So because I would have been in it thinking that it was going to go romantic, and then been like, wait, why not? But I would have been so obsessed with everything else about the story that I wouldn't have even cared.
Yeah.
So I would say that it just brought it up a little bit.
Oh, okay.
You know, my rating of whether or not I read it, probably to like a 6 or a 7 now.
Okay.
That's,
Yeah.
I mean, hey, that's good.
So I think that if we can convince each other to read this, we're going to have to come back to another episode where we discuss our opinions on the book after we've read it.
Yeah,
That
that's
sounds
true.
good.
Okay, so what can we convince you to read, Megan?
Okay. Another series that you guys talked about last time was the Cassandra Clare series. The Mortal Instruments. What was the prequel series? What are those called?
Clockwork Angel?
Clockwork
Yeah.
It was something like that.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
I don't remember all the series names and everything like that. And to be fair, I haven't read the most recent one that she was coming out with. Like the Chain of Gold and all of that stuff.
So the funny thing about that one is that I haven't read that one yet either.
Are you waiting for the entire series to come
The
out?
entire series is finally out. The third book came out in January when I gave birth to my son.
So you've been a little busy.
So I didn't want to get invested in this book that I may or may not be able to finish for X amount of months. So I've been waiting to get to a point where I could actually binge this whole series, because that's how I do it every time. Before we get into us convincing you, how likely on a scale of 1 to 10 are you to read this book?
Based solely on the writing, just 2 out of 10. It's just the writing does not click with me at all.
Okay, so now that we have that, we have to try to convince her to read it.
So my story with this series is, you guys had talked about it, and I was just like, and obviously it's such a popular series. It's probably one of the most, if not the most popular series out there. And I bought the entire series, including the prequels, way back when. And I read the first one, and I was just like, what is it? What was the first one? City of Bones?
Yeah.
Yes.
And I was just like, wow, this writing is horrible. And I assume she has perfected her craft since then. But basically, yeah, I didn't get it because I was like, I can't stand this writing. And then the plot twist at the end was also pretty gross.
Yeah,
So-
okay. So that I completely agree on, where that plot twist at the end, I was like, how are you turning this around? Because it was gross. It was not something that I thought anything of. I'll be honest, I don't remember actually reading the first book as far as like writing style and all that goes, so I don't know if it changed or if it stayed the same. But I told Jenna the same thing, because Jenna loves these books. These were one of her top ones, like she was talking about in the first episode. And she was like, oh, I need you to read these and stuff. And I'm all like, yeah, I read the first one. I did not like it. And she's like, but you'll still like it. There's good things that happen. And then she's like, wait, there's a prequel series and it's like steampunk. So you'll like the steampunk one. And it's funny because I read the prequel series and it was one of those ones where Jenna was talking, like we talk about, like we just did, it's a heterosexual romance in it. And I'm like, oh my god, it's another heterosexual romance. It's kind of like love triangle, not triangle thing going on. I'm like, this is bad, but I liked the world that she built, and I liked the characters that she made so much that the characters are what made me fall in love with it. And then when you think she sets something up so terribly, and then she turns it around, and the twist of her turning around, you go, wow, I didn't think you were going to find a good way to end this, and you found the perfect way to end this.
Interesting.
That's what it did.
For me, the funny thing is the way I got into this series is because I was having a weekend where I was just like, look, I want a trashy movie that I just want to watch a trashy movie and eat chocolate and cookie dough and don't talk to me. And I went and I rented the movie, the Mortal Entrance movie, and I put it on, and it follows the book. Unlike the series, do not watch the TV series.
That's another one. I did actually start the TV series. I think I did watch the movie, and then I also watched the TV series, and it just was so corny.
Yes. And I literally got to the end of the movie, which ends the way the first book ends in the Mortal Instruments, with this twist, and I just went, what? I was like, I need to know what happens. So then I'm like, where's the second movie? Oh. There is no second movie. There is no second movie.
Because every audience member said the same exact thing of, I'm not watching this.
They're like, what are you making me watch? And it's funny because it's one of those things where I was just like, I need to know, like, you'll know when you guys ever read, if you've ever read this book, or whenever you read this book, you'll get to the end of this book and go, what did you just make me read? And this is like typical Cassandra Clare. She will make you believe that there is no possible way for the love interests to be together. There is no way. It's not going to happen. And then she finds a way to do it. And
it always makes sense.
And it always makes sense, and it's always good. It's every single time. Oh, like, not like, oh, I never would have thought of that, but like, not only did you make this a satisfying way for these characters to end up together, like, you had me pining for them for so long, despite the fact that I really, really didn't want to be pining for them. Like, she does good. And she, like, but her books are very much that way. That first book, you're gonna, like, let me set up these two characters that shouldn't be together and then tell you why. And I'm going to leave you on that cliffhanger. And then the next book, it's going to be, I pine and burn for you and I'm going to want you more, but I still can't get why I want you. And then the way she like wraps it all up is so perfect that I was like, whoa. But the Mortal Instruments series is 6 books long.
Right.
So,
and that's an undertaking. Like,
yes.
Plus the 3 others.
Yeah.
And then what?
So the Mortal
4?
Instrument, I would not start on the Mortal Instrument series, is essentially what I'll boil down to. It is broken down like a trilogy. So her first 3 books are that same way that I just told you with the other trilogy. And then the next 3 books almost could be its own series, just using the same characters. Obviously, you need to have read the first 3 to understand the second part, but it's almost like 2 trilogies back to back.
Okay.
And then I hate love triangles.
Me too. That is another thing. I hate love triangles.
I hate love triangles. Cassandra Clare is the only author who has given me a satisfying ending to not one, but 2 love triangles. And in the prequel series, there's a love triangle. I literally thought it was going to be the biggest turnoff for Marissa, but even she can express that they do that so well.
So the good thing about the prequel series love triangle is that, yes, it was a big turnoff for the majority of the series. And it's like any love triangle in a literary book that's like popular is you have, oh, which side are you on? Who are you choosing type stuff. But I think the thing that I like about it, and it's not really a spoiler, is so the 2 guys in the love triangle are not rivals.
Mm-hmm.
They remain friends. And I think that's something that was really good was
Okay,
they don't
I like
they don't pit them against each other.
Yeah.
They're very much like they're friends before the girl comes into the picture and they're friends during it and like they remain friends. So it's not like a
And they're not just friends, they're best friends.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, they're each other's, like,
Is it the parabatai or whatever?
the parabody or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
They're, like, linked together. They're best friends. It's like their souls are united in their friendship. And they both fall for the girl. And the whole time, there's points where you're like, well, I want her to end up with him, but I also kind of want her to end up with him.
So you can't
It's
choose.
not like
Okay.
you're like, oh, I'm 100% Team Will or Team Jem.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
yeah.
There's points where you're like, I love this about him, but I also kind of like this about him, but I also hate that about him, and I also kind of don't like this about him. And it's like, so there's pros and cons to both. And quite unfortunately, at the end of that trilogy, she does wrap it up, but it also ties into later.
Nice.
So
That's what I
her
heard.
world building is so amazing and intense, and the character development is phenomenal.
Okay. That's another important thing for me is character development. Like we were talking about in Ember of the Ashes series,
Yes.
like that. The character development from the beginning to the end was so good for me.
Yes.
So I do like that. That's like
yeah,
top tier for me.
I think so there's 2 things that really drive any book for me, and it's plot and characters. So if it's lacking one, as long as the other one makes up for it, I'm fine with it. And I think the characters in her book are so well done. And it's so weird because, like, obviously, you know, we talk about it all the time is there's, like, the heterosexual, if there's not representation in it, I don't want to read it or watch it, or it makes it very difficult for me. And the interesting thing about this series is that it's all based around, like, angels and stuff like that, so it's got those Christian overtones. So when you read The Mortal Instruments, it's still taboo in that, like, certain people, it's like taboo to be gay in their society and world, and that was kind of a turnoff for me where I'm like, really, another like this is kind of forbidden type thing. But it has all the representation in it.
Okay.
Like it has I'm pretty sure there's a transgendered character at one point.
So can't remember.
They
for sure.
have lesbian, they have bisexual, they have gay, they have I love, even off of the LGBT spectrum, they have, like, autistic characters. They have
interesting.
characters that are diverse, and that's something I really love about this series, is that everybody has somebody in there.
So for me, on the other end of it, Marissa and I have both talked about how, like, sometimes with books that have representation or have the LGBTQ in it, it's like, it's a fantasy world, so people will automatically make it like, nope, everything's fine, and this was never an issue to begin with. And because it's, like, still kind of taboo there's points where they're actively, like, fighting change. Like,
Oh, cool.
so there is, like, there's a gay shadow hunter who ends up dating a warlock. And first of all, like, taboo that way, and second of all, taboo because they're gay.
I remember this from the show.
Yeah, exactly. And so it's like there's that side of it, but then they're also like fighting the, you know, elder people who are like their parents' generation that have that taboo, and they're like, no, I'm not going to be ashamed of this. This is how it is. Like, and kind of come into their own that way and change their society that way by kind of forcing that allowance. And I liked that about it. I also liked that her books span decades. So, like, the first trilogy is generations before Mortal Instruments.
Right.
But some of the characters are immortal or long-lived. So some of those characters like the warlock that's in the Mortal Instruments, you see him in the one before that, and then you'll see him in the later ones and stuff like that. So it's like it spans generations and kind of talks about it, and they have like throwbacks to each other, and like there's a point in the newer series, the Dark Artifacts, they are like in a library and they make a connection to the prequel series, the Clockwork Orange, like whoever Will H is scribbling in all these books.
Yeah, that was
and
great.
Stuff like that. It's like, so they have like little throwbacks in it that you wouldn't catch if you didn't read the other books, but like you might kind of get otherwise. And then also, even when you don't like a character in a book, they grow to become likable. So, like, in the first book,
Clary's pretty annoying.
Yeah, she's pretty annoying. And her best friend Simon, who, like, pines over her and is like, oh, I want you so bad. And you're just like, oh, God, this is going to be a love triangle. And you're just going to be so annoyed by him because he's obviously the best friend that's not going to get the girl. He becomes one of the coolest characters in that series.
I was spoiled for what happens to him from the show.
Oh, yeah.
It was like in season 1, they're just like, oh, yeah, this is what happens to Simon, by the way. And I was like, wow.
But that's not it. I
That's
didn't
not
even
just
watch.
it.
What?
Yeah,
Simon
no.
goes through so much.
Simon becomes a huge character.
Huge. You're like, okay, so spoiler alert, like, Simon turns into this, but that's not all he turns into.
But that's just the beginning of it all.
That's just the beginning.
Okay. That in itself is kind of okay.
Yeah, it's intriguing.
I think the good thing about it is, like, she has those, like, moments of, once again, same thing with, like, the love triangles and all of that stuff where you think, like, how are you going to write yourself out of this one? And she does, surprisingly. She does that with the characters, too, of whether they're written as an unlikable character and you're like, how are you going to make this person likable? And surprisingly does it. Or you have, like, not always, because I don't want to spoil it for anything specifically. And there are times that this happens and it's permanent, but, like, sometimes character deaths aren't permanent the way you think they're going to be.
Yeah.
So it's like, you might grow to, like, be attached to a certain character, and you're like, I can't believe I have to give up on this, or this is, like, such a bittersweet ending. And then it might not be in that same series, but in another series down the line, you're all like, oh my God, something great happened to this character, or something like that.
So the funny thing is that I almost wish that you'd start on Dark Artifacts, because I think that would be the series that you would like the best. Mm-hmm. It has Edgar Allan Poe ties.
Oh, I like that.
It doesn't have the creepy ending the first one does.
Yeah, that's true.
But if you started on Dark Artifacts, it would ruin the other two series.
Okay.
So that's the thing, is it would spoil the end of the other two series. And the amazing thing about the end of the second trilogy with Mortal Instruments is that it gives a new ending to the Clockwork Angel trilogy.
Oh, okay.
So it would spoil both in that way.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate. But I think that would be the one that you'd enjoy, because that one has the most representation. It doesn't have the creepy ending. And it has a polyamorous relationship.
I do. I'm interested in reading about more polyamorous relationships.
It's a very well written one too.
Yeah.
It's one that, like, because you know it happens now, it's like, oh, okay. But, like, I was not expecting it to play out that way, and so having read it and, like, as it was playing out, I'm like, oh, okay, this is the way we're going with it. I like that.
Yeah, when you're first reading it, like, now that you know it's a polyamorous relationship, you'll see it coming. But, like, the first time I'm reading it, I'm going, gosh, she's doing it again, where she's building me into something where there's not going to be a good way to end this. And they're like, oh, okay. I see you, Cassandra Clare. Like, all the representation. Like, so
I would say if it's something that you don't know if you're going to be able to like the first two series, I would say go ahead and start with the Dark Artifacts series if you're okay with having those spoilers happen for you. Because it could even just give you that enough oomph to go in and be like, okay, even though I know this is going to happen, I'll go back and read how it happens type thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, interestingly, because the Mortal Instruments is the one that, like, everyone talks about, Mortal Instruments is the one that kind of ties everything together. Okay. So the Mortal Instruments is the ones that, like, everything kind of, like, wraps around. But interestingly, it's not the most, I wouldn't say the best written series.
And that's
Yeah.
what's stopping me.
Yeah. And I mean, like, look, I love my boy Jace. I love Clary. She does come around, I promise. Simon, phenomenal.
Is he the reason I should read the series?
Yes, Simon
Honestly,
alone.
you would love... if you just were reading the Mortal Instruments just for Simon, that's totally fine. It'll take you a couple of books, but once you get to it, you'll be like, oh my gosh.
I will also say that when I got this book series, I watched the movie, went, wait a minute, what the heck? I want the second movie. There is no second movie. And so I thought, I don't want to read the book that I just watched the movie for.
Right.
So I just bought the second book.
Oh, so you just started from the second book.
And then I went back and read the first book to make sure there wasn't anything important that I missed. Because there are little things that, just don't transfer. Yeah. But I just jumped straight into the second book. And it was like my driving force was I had to know how this author was going to make how she ended that first book okay.
Okay.
Like, to me, I was just like, what? I'm sorry. How can you just subtly throw that out there and be like, also, there's 5 more books.
Right.
Come along. So it was like,
trust me, it's fine.
Trust me, it's fine.
When you started it, were the first 6 books already out?
I want to say the first 5 were out, and I had to wait for the 6th. Then I read that one, and then I read the Clockwork Angel series, and then I read the Dark Artifacts. And as I'm reading the Dark Artifacts, I'm going, she did it to me again. She did it to me again. I know that this is what's going to happen. I know she's going to leave me on a cliffhanger. And I had to read those as they were coming out. And I was like, I don't know. Like, how am I going to wait so long to understand if they can end up together? And I know that she's going to make it fine. I just need to know how.
Note to authors out there, don't do it.
Although somehow it works for her and I keep buying her books.
That's what it is. It's the cliffhangers that keep you coming.
I know, but I know it's every single one of them. Every one of the books. I know it's going to be a cliffhanger and I know that it's going to eventually turn out okay, but I still need to know how.
I was going to say, going back to having like Mortal Instruments being like kind of the not better written of her series, I think the important part of Mortal Instruments is not only that so much happens that affects the world in that series, but it's the idea of like the outsider girl learning everything. So that's how you learn her world, is through Clary.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And
I like those kind of stories.
Yeah, that's what the importance of Mortal Instruments, other than the like all the changes that happens into her world in that series. But even going back on the Clockwork series, like, it's a similar instance of, like, somebody kind of learning the world, too.
Yeah, okay. Tessa in that one, she's the one learning the world. And so it's like, she knows a little bit, but not much. And Clary knows nothing and then learns it. Okay, and then, but the Dark Artifacts, they
jump you into it. Yeah, you're like, you're part of this world now.
You already know what's going on. There is also, I was say, there's more of the underworld or whatever they call them, so more like fairies, but I'd say the Dark Artifacts has more fairies. The Mortal Instruments has more like vampires and werewolves, and then the Clockwork Orange seems to have more of the warlocks.
Yeah.
Or the Clockwork Orange, the Clockwork Angel.
You keep saying Clockwork Orange and I love it.
Oh my god.
That's a completely different book.
Totally different. Clockwork Angel, guys. So yeah, I highly recommend. The writing style does get better, but it's kind of funny that you say that because for me that was Throne of Glass.
Oh, yeah.
Throne of Glass was that series that I started the first book 5 times, guys. 5 times. And people kept telling me, it gets so good. And I was like, how did anyone read the second book when I can't even finish the first one? And it does get better, but it took a few books for her to like understand and for me to care enough about the characters, to be honest.
Yeah.
So I had to push through, but this one, I don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure Mortal Instruments was her first book.
I think so,
Cassandra Clare. I think so. And then it definitely gets better as she goes. And
okay, I assume so. I would really hope so.
Yes.
As an author, if you have 6 + 3 + 4? 6 + 3 + 3?
I'm pretty sure she has something plus
She's got at least 3 trilogies plus Mortal Instruments.
plus
so-
like the Magnus Bane Chronicles and the
she's got all
Shadow
the, like,
Hunter
little
Academy.
ones.
So
Yeah,
she's
I'd
got
really
like
hope
20 books or something like that out.
She'd improve over time.
Yes, I definitely think she did. So I'd do Clockwork series if Clockwork.
Well, I have them.
Angel.
Yeah, I would start with that because that's how I got into
Yeah.
it. And it's still, like I said, it's still that you're outsider learning things and it teaches you like little bits and it gives you enough backstory on the world to get into it. And then it gives you those little things to look forward to in the Mortal Instruments series when you run into those characters and stuff like that come up that you're like, oh, you're from that. You were back then. I remember you.
Okay.
Or even a big thing about this world is family
Yeah.
names.
Oh, yeah.
So like you learn who people are by their last name and you
Okay.
go, oh, you're related to that person from that series.
I think I've seen some spoilers of that.
Probably.
But
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you off the top of
you
my
wouldn't
head.
know
Yeah.
why either.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you don't know their true significance of
Right.
like who this person is.
Yeah.
Right.
So have we?
What's
upped
your
amount?
what's out of 10 now? What are you
I
at?
think maybe 6.
Okay.
We'll have to see because it's just the daunting task of, oh gosh, I have to slog through all of this
Yeah.
Maybe
writing. But I think if I were to start, I think I would start with the Clockwork Angel series first.
Yeah.
I haven't read them as audiobooks, but I wonder if
Oh,
they'd
yeah.
be easier as audiobooks because it's something that you could just listen to, and the parts that you get annoyed by, just roll your eyes more and not be like, I have this, because her books are not small.
Yeah, they're
that's
pretty
true.
thick.
So it might be one of those ones that it's like, if you get into it, maybe give the audiobooks a go, because then you can push your way through it and like zone out the parts you don't care about as much.
Yeah. Yeah. I usually, for something that's like a lot more complex, I prefer to read it.
Yeah.
But maybe to kind of get me into that, or if I read the first trilogy or the prequel trilogy and then go into the Mortal Instruments, like listening to
Audiobooks.
them, yeah.
Yeah. There you
That
go.
might work.
That might be better.
Okay, I think you moved it up to a 7.
Okay.
Hey, there we
Suggesting
go.
audio.
There we go. Little point by point.
All right.
Alright.
Jenna, what can we convince you to read?
So you guys have both talked, and it's big online, the Priory of an Orange Tree.
Yes.
Speaking of books that are big and,
Yeah,
scary to
intimidating.
take on.
Yes.
All right, before we get started on that, let's hear out of 10, how likely are you thinking of reading this book?
From what you know
Yeah.
and what you've heard.
Probably give it a 3 or a 4, maybe. Because I want to read it. But I'll be honest, it's very intimidating and it's pretty low on my books.
And now that there's 2 of them.
I
I know. I have not read the second one yet, so I can't speak for that one. I will speak for Priory of an Orange Tree. I was also intimidated by it. And obviously the people that tell me, you gotta read this is because there's the lesbian representation in it.
It's literally everyone's gay.
Everyone's gay.
I cannot think of a single straight character in that book.
There's one that's never confirmed either way. But,
Everyone's a little gay, right?
everyone's on the spectrum, right?
So basically, dragons.
So cute to be gay.
Well, I want to say, before we even get into the plot of the book, as far as the intimidation factor goes, I completely understand that, because I had the same thing of, like, that is a huge commitment. And I'll be honest, I started that book like 3 or 4 times before I actually started reading it. And it's because it's one of those books where you have the whole, like, I have no idea what's going on, and she's going to have to try to build this world, and they're saying names of things I don't know anything about.
Yeah.
And it's like, it took me a while to get it started, but once I got into it, it doesn't feel like that long of a book.
Right.
You are immersed in it, and you want to get to the next part.
Okay, see, good. That's good to know, because books that take me a long time to get into it, and then I'm like, is this plot going anywhere? Like,
Give it like 2 or 3 chapters, I would say.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And then once you start learning the different stories that are going on, I'd compare it to Game of Thrones in the fact of, like, you want to know what each story is and how they all connect.
okay.
The good thing that, especially like, because all the stories,
Mm-hmm.
like going into Game of Thrones, I always just like, oh, I love this character. I only want to read from their point of view. This one, I didn't have any of that. I literally was just like, okay, yes, we got Severance. We got like No,
Yeah.
not Sabran. She's the queen.
Yeah.
Who was it? Aid? Yeah, we got Aid, and then Tane, and then Niklays, and was that just 3? This is the 3 characters,
There was like a couple those are the 3 main stories, but there's a few of them like what's his face?
The best friend.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
in it a few times. He's got his own little stories a couple of times. There's a couple of like side ones that happen a few times, but there's like 3 main ones that you follow, and then the side ones kind of like start to bring them in together.
Yes. Also dragons.
Also dragons. There are dragons. I think also the cool thing is with this is, yes, you like every story that you're reading and you're trying to figure out how they all tie together, but you're never like, I'm reading Niklays right now. Although he would be the one that would be, he would be the one that you'd be like, okay, I don't care about you, old man. Let's get to the interesting characters.
Which actually is interesting. When I went to Samantha Shannon's book signing earlier this year for A Day of Fallen Night, she talked about how he was her favorite character to write.
Yeah.
Because he's a lot more complex, and he's like the character that everyone hates. But that's because it makes him complex and everything.
You think, because with him, his story doesn't get interesting until you know more about him.
Yeah, exactly.
So at first you're just sitting there like, you're just a grumpy old man, I don't like you.
Right.
But then you get to know him and he gets more complex and you're all
Right.
like, oh my gosh, you learned so much about him.
now that I know you, I get it.
Yeah. I would say though that beyond that, like I know you like interesting fantasy worlds and the world building and the different magic types and stuff like that. This definitely has that. It's got a well thought out world of like lore, history, magic, and different cultures too. It's not just one culture. Like,
so there is a Middle Eastern style culture as well. There's
kind of like the English, European style, the Middle Eastern style, and kind of more of the like Asian, Japan type.
Kind of like a Grishaverse.
Yeah.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, a little bit. Like
They're
that.
very obviously it's
Russian.
totally
and...
not Russian, and it's also totally not
Exactly.
Chinese, and it's totally not.
Exactly.
Yeah. So the basic storyline is, without spoiling anything, is that like 1,000 years ago there was the nameless one who was like the evil dragon that was wreaking havoc on the world. He was sealed away by Sir something.
No, it was by the okay.
It's basically based off of the lore of Saint George and the Dragon. Is that what it was?
Something like that. I
Yeah.
can't remember. I don't know the actual lore of it, but basically this brave knight-like character.
Mm-hmm. Slayed the dragon.
Yeah.
But
and
then
locked
it's
him away.
like, history is not actually history. It's been rewritten to fit blah, 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 blah. So they base their entire religion on this, like, story. But
not just that, though. There's several religions based off of different interpretations of the story.
Exactly.
Oh, okay.
So it's kind of like,
Christianity.
Exactly. It's that. It's the different types of, like, Christianity that comes from it, but without it being Christianity.
Yeah.
So you have the, like, people that know it actually went this way, and it's like, well, no, it actually went that way. And it's like, well, we have the proof. And it's like, no, but we have the proof. But it's religion, so it's faith.
Oh.
And then,
so it depends on what.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you learn more about what actually happened a little bit as you go through it. But you have that question of, like, which one's true and how much was distorted through time.
Also, all compounded by the fact that the nameless one is supposed to return on the exact, like, 1,000-year anniversary.
Oh.
And so they're just like, oh, shoot, the nameless one is coming back. What are we going to do? We have to, like, protect our people and stuff.
Oh.
Yeah. And then, so that's just one side of it all,
Yeah, that's
too.
just one side.
That's just one story of, like, one continent, basically. And then you go across the sea where the more, like, Japanese one is.
Oh.
And it's like, so this whole continent's like, oh, dragons are scary and bad because the nameless one and everything like that. You go across the sea and they train dragons.
Oh.
Well, they don't train
them.
Yeah,
The dragons...
they revere them. No, they don't train them. I'm sorry. That was a very bad way. The dragons train them. They train to work with the dragons and become dragon riders.
Oh, okay.
You got dragon riders. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah. And so you're getting this not only conflicting story on this side of, like, lore and how things happen differently here, but then completely to juxtapose that, you have the different society on that side.
Okay. As we know, I need romance.
So there is some slow burn romance.
Okay.
And then there's like heartbreaking romance. I'm trying to think of like
There's several different romances in it. There's like obviously there's the lesbian romance that
is
pulls
everyone
me in.
seems.
Yeah. But then you also like you've got the gay romances that heavily impact. Well, yeah, but there's like certain gay romances that heavily impact the story, and then there's like one of the romances starts off the story.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
And it's an interesting romance because it's not necessarily one that you're like going side by side with, but you have like the romance that's like you're not watching it bloom, but you know it's there.
Yeah.
Type romances. You've got a nice variety of it, I would say.
Also, I'm just gonna like briefly touch on the second book again at the Samantha Shannon signing. She said book 2 is heavily focused on just motherhood. And I think that would be great for you.
Oh, yeah.
And also, the second book takes place 500 years before the Priory of the Orange Tree, so you could technically read it before if you wanted to. I personally wouldn't because there's a lot of like plot twists in that kind of
are given away. And
Priory of the Orange Tree plot twists that are talked about in like nonchalantly in A Day of Fallen Night. So I personally prefer to suggest people to
read it in the right order.
Priory of the Orange Tree first and then go into Day of Fallen Night. But Day of Fallen Night talks about like people who want to be mothers, people who don't want to be mothers, how you deal with like adopted mothers or even your own like birth mother kind of thing. It's just like the entire story is just about motherhood and stuff and like the different types of that.
Okay.
And it's really beautiful.
That
like I
kinda
really
pulls
did
me a little
enjoy
bit.
the second one a lot. I do prefer the first one just because I feel like the story and like the question of the religion and how it developed and what's true or not came to be. But the second one is just also beautifully written as well. Also, that's another thing. She's a great writer.
Yeah, it's written well.
She is
like I said,
fantastic.
It's confusing at first because she kind of dumps you into it like, you already
really
know
does.
what's going on. And I'm like, I don't know anything what's going on.
See, I think my fear is that it's going to be a little Six of Crows.
No, not at all.
Okay, so Six of Crows, it's like, let me just dump you into this world.
Oh, yeah, like that, yes. Six of Crows is hard to read in the first couple chapters.
And then it was like, I love, okay, total disclaimer, I love Six of Crows.
Oh, for
yes.
sure.
Love Six of Crows. It's like one of those books that I think about randomly and like it left an impact. Love Six of Crows. That being said, it took me forever to get through that book.
Because you didn't start off with Shadow and Bone trilogy, right? You didn't read the Shadow and
No,
Bone
I
trilogy
did not
first.
read the Shadow and Bone trilogy first.
Right.
I think it's because Six of Crows was heavily plot ridden.
Mm-hmm.
And the characters, it was one of those ones where I cared about some characters, but I didn't care about others. And it was read from different like points of view. And then eventually I loved all the characters, so it didn't matter. But like it took me so long to get into some of the characters that I was like, I don't care about Waylon. And I'm like, okay, just kidding. I love Waylon. I don't care about Matthias. Who's this Matthias jerk? And okay, I love Matthias.
There's a little bit of that, and I will say that like the slow burn of the series is a little bit like that, where I'm all like, I don't really want to read this because it's not happening right now, so I just want to get to the more interesting story that's going on right now. But you think that at the beginning of it, and then by the time you get to the end of that chapter, you're like, no, I need to figure out more of what's going on with this person.
Okay.
Yep.
I was going to say about romances, and without spoiling any of it, there was a surprising romance that was not like long lasting in it, and I don't want to say specifically who it is, but it's one of the main ones that is kind of a side romance. I don't know if I can say that enough for you knowing what it is. It's the one you would think I wouldn't like.
Okay. The one straight?
the one like straight one that
led to the...
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I actually...
I liked that one well enough, but it was a mystery enough that like I didn't know how I felt about it for a while.
Right. Especially the male character involved.
Yeah.
You're thinking he has more nefarious.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I think she'll like that a bit.
Okay.
Yes. I also rereading it because I did the audiobook before going into the Day of Fallen Night. I did the audiobook so I could reread it. I reread it and I was just like, oh, it actually is like a really sweet little romance part. But
yeah, it's weirdly like you would think I wouldn't like it, but I was like, it was done well.
Yeah, it was really done well.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of what else there is. Basically, it's an epic story. It's obviously an epic because it spans 3 continents, and you have like the giant big baddie that's out there, and then you have the main characters that are all coming together to create this team of ragtag people to
and that's also a very interesting thing. I think it's not only writing the stories of the people, but rewriting the stories of the people too. Mm-hmm. There's like the character development of it and the world development. Mm-hmm. It's not just like, oh, this character's changed, and it's not easy to change, and it's not easy to change other people's opinions.
Right.
So we have to do that, and we have to sacrifice some of our beliefs for the greater good.
Yeah.
Okay, that kind of reminds, and I don't know, neither of you, I don't think have read the Kingdom of Copper series, the David Bad, all the way.
I just read
one.
City of Brass.
Yeah. Okay, so the more you get into that one, the more, like, it's from 3 points of view, and in that one, you have, everyone has their own religious and political views.
That's why it's so confusing.
And it's not like one character is the one that's right, and you're like, yes, you're right, why are these other 2 idiots? It's like, all of them are like, you're all kind of right, but you're all kind of wrong. Like,
yeah. That actually, like, so going back to the religion thing, that is a very big part of it, where we're just like, you literally believe in this because this is what you've been taught and what has been passed down from history. But you're wrong!
But you're wrong!
But also, we can't say you're wrong because it's literally what has been taught.
Right. Yeah. Maybe I gotta give it a go because I really love the David Bad trilogy.
I'm curious because you said you listened to it on audiobook, right? How was it on audiobook?
The first one was really good. I really enjoyed the narrator. Mm-hmm. I thought she did a very good job, especially with like the voices, to the point that when the second book came out and it's 3 different narrators, like completely, and it's a full cast of narrators, I was actually kind of disappointed. I was like, oh, I want my woman, but it's also because it's 500 years earlier. You can't have like the same voices.
Yeah.
So I did enjoy the audiobook. I think it's like 40 hours long. Because it's a chunky book.
Well, I'm just curious because I'm pretty sure that'd be the way that Jenna would be able to do it.
I feel like because it's similar to the David Bad trilogy, that because there's so much political intrigue and like important information, especially about like the history of everything, it might be a little bit difficult to retain it.
That's true.
If you do feel that you do retain, I usually just do it when I'm like doing stuff. I only listen to audiobooks when I'm either driving or like doing the dishes or drawing, that I can tune in enough to pay attention, but tune out enough that I don't need the history and the stuff. So I could not listen to the David Bad trilogy in audiobook because it's something I need to read.
Yeah.
So, because there is so much political stuff going on. But you can, I don't know, maybe start it and give it a go.
Yeah. I mean, that's the nice thing about Libby is if I can get it on Libby, I can try. And if I hate it, I'm like, goodbye. Oh, crap.
It's an Audible exclusive. Maybe. Hashtag not a nag, but could be.
Yeah, I would say, I guess I would say give it a try then on audiobook, because I know that's how you're going to read it. And if you're listening it on the audiobook and you realize like, hey, I'm not retaining a lot of this, I recommend getting it then on your Kindle.
Yeah.
I started
don't drop
reading
it on my baby's head.
Yeah, please don't. Oh god. I started reading it on my phone on my Kindle at work because that's how I was reading books for a while, because I was like, I can't bring a book into work anymore with what I do, but like if I'm sitting at lunch or something like that and I have time, I'll scroll through and read it on my phone. And so I started reading it on that, and then it got to the point where I was like, I like this so much, I can't just read it on my book, so I went and bought the physical copy, and then I had to, like, skip over to the pages that I was on to, like, start there. And I did a dual reading that way, where it's like, well, I was at work, I read it on my phone, and then I'd get home and skip over to those pages and start reading it on the
I won't lie, I've done
copy.
that before, at jobs where it's like, I didn't have my book, or I couldn't have my book, but I'd have, like, quick 5-10 minute breaks, so I'd be like, I'm just gonna buy this on Kindle, too, so that I could do both.
Yeah.
That was me with Empire of the Vampire by J. Kristoff, where I was just like, I need to know what happens, but I have to go and actually do things. So I'm going to get the audiobook and I'm going to listen to it. Oh, Libby, there's a 20-week wait on it. Well, Audible, hey.
Guess I'll have that.
And it was worth it. It helps. I like, what is it? Multi-format?
Multimedia format of your books.
Of your favorite books as you read them. But another thing, I want to go back to like talking about how even though it feels long, it feels like there's like 3 books going on at once in the book.
Okay.
And like not in a bad way. Just because you're following so many different storylines and there is like the kind of like overarching, okay, this person has their goal. This person has their goal. But they're actually all the same goals.
They're kind of all working in the same way.
Yeah. So they're all like aiming towards the same thing. Just because they're all on opposite sides. And because one side fears dragons, they feel that the other side, because they work with the dragons, they're inherently evil.
Yeah. That seems very David Bad.
Yeah.
So David Bad, it's I mean, you know a little bit about it,
Yeah.
but it's that like they have different sects of the djinn. And the one girl is like comes back and it's like people think that they're bad people, but then they're like, oh, you've just been so judgmental towards us, and because of that you're the bad people.
Right.
And it's like, so it's very much like, no, we're not the bad people, you're the bad people. No, you're the rulers and you were corrupt. No, you're the usurpers and you're corrupt. And it's like, so it has that like, you're not right, I'm right.
Yeah, it's a lot like that, and it's like that in multiple ways in the book, I would say. And I think there's one character in there that you're gonna like because he's gonna remind you of Jelani.
Really?
I think he's gonna remind you a lot of Jelani.
Is it the friend?
Yeah.
Yeah. He like in my second read through, I was just like, oh, I love this character so much.
Yeah.
The epitome of sunshine.
Yeah, and like Megan was
husband.
saying, it's very much like once you get into it, it doesn't feel like a big book. It feels like I almost wish there was more, but I'm glad there wasn't because I would have never finished it.
I honestly would not I would love another prequel of talking about when the Nameless One first appeared, or like how they slew the Nameless One.
Yeah,
of just like that actual history and stuff. Similar to like how Lee Bardugo does with like the Lives of Saints or whatever. She has like the little side stories of all the saints that they worship and stuff.
Yeah,
I basically want that. Samantha Shannon, if you're listening, please take your time, but also please.
Or going into that, Cassandra Clare, if you're listening, I want that lesbian novel of the ones that
Aline and Helen.
Yeah.
Yes. Cassandra Clare, if you're listening, please write a story about Aline and Helen. That would be amazing.
Maybe it's already in the works.
Oh.
We don't know.
They get so much background stuff that I just want the good one. Well, I was going to ask you how you would rate your
before
wanting
we
to read it now.
move this on, I'd say probably an 8. It's something I definitely want to take on. I just am scared to commit to it because the other thing about having a child is he requires my attention. So if I get obsessed with a book, or my husband gets obsessed with a video game, it's really, really bad because we're like, look,
it's your time.
It's your turn. And I need this. And right now my husband's obsessed with a video game and we can't both be obsessed with things that are not our child. So
it's a good balance, right?
It's a good balance. I have to wait to get obsessed with like a 40-hour long book for a little while. So yeah, I'd say 8, maybe 9. It'll happen eventually, but it might take a while. So I was thinking, because something that I feel like we all could talk about for a while is what if we convinced our listeners to read Soulless?
Oh,
because that's one of Marissa's favorite series.
And okay, guys, let's get ready.
All read it. So,
ready for
listeners, if you have not read Soulless by Gail Carriger, we're about to convince you.
Okay, so I'm gonna start this off really quickly by Soulless is a great book on its own, but if you get into Soulless and you finish it, get ready to be immersed in a world such as Cassandra Clare's world. Of just prequels, sequel series, all of that, because that's what she does with her books.
Well, that's what made me think of it, is that you guys were talking about, like, I want a book about this person, since, like, we go into the world building, and, like, I was like, let's talk about Gail Carriger and how every single character in her books has their own book. Like, any character, whether it's a novella, whether it's a full series, it's like, she makes a character, and she's like, you like this character? Let me tell you their story.
Are you telling me there's a Lord Aquildama
There's I don't know if they have a full like just
Oh, I
him,
don't
but they
know.
do have a book that focuses a lot on him too.
All right, I'm gonna go out and buy that today because
Yeah.
he is my all-time favorite.
I can't remember which one that is off the top of my head, but I will have to I'll look it up and let you know. There's so there's a lot of different series like you were saying that if it's whether it's a novella or it's like her sequel series, The Custard Protocol.
Yeah.
Is like the first half of it's focused on one character and then the second half is focused on another character, which is great because
You get both.
you get both. And like even like the last book I think is focused on a third character in it.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, before we get too much into like the sequels, let's give like a synopsis of what the
Right,
world even
yeah,
is.
Right. We
Yeah.
just
Just read this
Just
book
read it.
because it's great. You don't need to know anything about
And
it.
all the other books that come with it.
Exactly. Be prepared to get fully immersed.
and addicted.
So, the world of the Soulless series and everything else around it basically is a supernatural world, but it's where supernatural is widely accepted.
Love it already.
Yeah. So it's like vampires, werewolves, all of that are integrated into society. And so like vampires are kind of the like fashionistas, the like social influencers of society. And then you've got the werewolves, which are like the military of the society. And
this all takes place in like London.
yeah.
And generally like England area.
It's like London, early 1800s, mid 1800s,
It's-
Victorian.
It's the Victorian, I believe. Yeah, it's very steampunk.
but
It's
steampunk.
very steampunk. And if you're reading the Soulless series, starting with Soulless, as I recommend, your main character, so she is
Soulless.
soulless. And that's the basis of all of the supernatural is if you have a lot of soul, as they say, which they equate to creativity, basically. If you're full of a lot of soul, you have a lot of creativity, and you're likely to transform into these supernatural these supernatural beings. Where if you are just regularly sold when you die or go through the process of whatever it might be, turning into a vampire, werewolf, etc., you are less likely to turn into this and you'll just die outright.
You can't be influenced. So like the vampires, they have the influence over you and can kind of like mind control-ish and like the way, supernatural beings can do. And they can kind of hurt you. The soulless person, as this character is, cannot be necessarily hurt or influenced the way they are used to normal human beings doing. So it's kind of like the kryptonite of the supernatural world. They're like, oh, you're soulless. We don't like you because
And that's the thing though, is soulless is kind of a like mythical creature in itself.
Right.
They're not common.
That was actually a big part of the series. Like
Yeah.
towards the end of the series was her kind of discovering like, oh, what's my origin story?
Right.
Yeah, there is not like soulless is a very rare thing to be. And the soulless and the thing that makes her special is the fact that she neutralizes the supernatural ability.
Literal kryptonite too.
Yes.
Literal.
Supernatural.
So if she touches a vampire, the vampire is no longer vampire, he's human. If she touches a werewolf, the werewolf is no longer werewolf, he's human.
Yeah, so it's like they can't, all of those things that make them special and make them essentially predators to regular humans and make them better than humans is nullified. And like, they're just like, okay, we don't want anything to do with soulless person because they take away all of our specialness. And yeah, I don't know. I love it because it's written and she's a spinster. She's 25 and she's like, I'm not going to get married. I'm like opinionated and there's nothing interesting about me and I'm kind of plain and I'm never going to get married. It's fine.
But she's sassy as
But
well.
she's sassy.
She's so sassy.
Dude,
I
this
love
entire
her.
book is sassy, and that's
Oh my
the great
God.
part about it. The way it is just written is such like dry humor
Mhm.
while being very like sarcastic and sassy.
I slowly read the series over the course of like 4 or 5 years, and every time I'd pick up the next book and be like, okay, it's time. I'd get into it, and I'm like, why did I wait so long to read this series?
Oh
like,
my
'cause I think
gosh.
last year I binged the last 3, and I was just like, it's time. I just need to, okay. So I sit down and I read them, and I'm just like, this is so funny. I laughed out loud, and I don't remember, there's not many books that can make people laugh out loud. That series will make you laugh out loud, and it's so hard to explain it.
Yes.
One of my favorite quotes from it, and I can't directly quote it because it's been so long, but they say something about one of her best friends, or her best friend says, like, the narration says, like, she did this as if to say, words cannot possibly describe my emotions right now. And because she's not one to not use words to describe her emotions, she went on to say, and like talks about.
It's so perfect. Like, that's exactly how it's written. It's like, she did this as if to do this, but because she can't not do this, she has to do this. Yeah. It's like, it's written so funny and quippy, and like, it's wonderfully and beautifully written.
But I think it really is beautifully written.
Yeah, it's beautifully written without being like, I wouldn't say it's like poetically written. It's like beautifully written in the funny way. Right. Beautifully written in the way that you enjoy British comedy. Beautifully written in that like dry, sarcastic, but also super goofy and punny way. Mm-hmm. And I was gonna say, as far as, because we know that the thing that matters for me, the romance, there is main character romance, and surprise guys, it's a Marissa thing, and it's a heterosexual romance.
It is.
Right?
The main romance is a heterosexual romance. However, I will say there's one line that is said, actually there's a few lines that have been said in it, but there's one line specifically that I'm thinking of in a book that I don't think either of you have read of hers, which was Romancing the Inventor.
Genevieve's.
Yeah. Which was the lesbian romance book, obviously the one that I flocked to quickly after I'd finished all the other series, was that they were talking to the main character, and she says something like, I'm the type of person that likes to try all the dishes on the table. And so it was kind of one of those, like, yeah, she's not straight. She's got a heterosexual romance, but she's not straight.
Yeah. And I think that the thing about it is that, yes, it's a heterosexual romance, but it's not like, oh, sorry, I'm not interested, all right? Like, that character, Genevieve, comes in, like, she's flirty and quippy with the main character, and it's still kind of there. Like, yeah, you still have that, like, I like their fun little banter, and it's like, you almost ship them, but you don't ship them because you like her, like, with her person.
Yeah, she's already established that hetero romance. Like, the first book is just, which is crazy, because that's the thing, is the first book doesn't have her in it.
Yeah.
Genevieve's not in the first book.
She starts in the second.
Yeah. So, like, you read the first book and you're like, it was a heterosexual romance, but it was just so funny and witty, and I wanted to keep reading that type of writing, so I read the second book, and then Genevieve comes in and I'm all like, a lesbian wearing suits and she's smart? And it's like, oh my gosh. And then she starts flirting with her, and you're like,
wait.
Why'd you have to come in after the romance is established?
And I like them. It's not like I'm like, oh, her husband's a jerk, I want her to end up with the girl. It's like, you genuinely, I mean, there are moments where you're like, oh, the brute. But then you're
like the whole premise of the third book.
Yeah, yes. But like, not to the point where you're like, divorce him and end up with the lesbian. I hate him now. Like,
yeah, exactly.
They still write the heterosexual romance so well that even the lesbian of our group wanted the heterosexual romance to go the way it did.
I will also say there's actually, like, I think there was only one character throughout the entire series that I did not like, and then they even had a redemption quality towards the end, like a redemption towards the end.
Yeah.
It was Lord Macon's second in command.
Yeah.
He kind of had, like, his like shady side story.
Too. Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
I need to read more of this series. But what makes...
Is that Colonel something of the...
No, Channing is great.
Channing. Oh my god.
Of the Chesterfield Channings.
Channing of the Chesterfield Channings.
This is like stuff like that.
Yes, exactly.
And Lord Akeldama always, he's my favorite.
Yeah, Channing was not he was in the werewolves. He wasn't part of Lord Akeldama's.
Yes.
But Lord Akeldama always, like, chastising Lord Macon for, like, not tying his cravat, perfectly. And as you said, the fashionista of the society and stuff. It was just, it's like if you read Jane Austen with a lot more humor and
so much
supernatural.
More like Jane Austen,
it's like
meets My Lady Jane.
There you go.
Meets something supernatural.
Twilight.
If Twilight was really, really good. Like, really good. Like,
also, that's the
amazing.
thing. I don't think there was a love triangle in that.
No, I don't think there was.
I mean, other than, like, the flirting of the
I
invention
was
Yeah.
gonna
stuff.
say the
but,
second
like,
one kind of led you on a little
bit, but not enough that I would say that would be a love triangle. I would say that'd just be, the fun flirting. And
Yeah,
you're like,
exactly.
the possibility that could have been.
The maybes.
I will say, though, so you have that main series that you should read, Soulless, the Parasol Protectorate series. And then they had the prequel.
Oh my god, the prequel's amazing.
The prequel's really good. It's definitely written for a more younger audience, but it still ties in everything that Soulless has as far as writing goes and, like, the world that it's built in. And there's characters in the prequel series that show up in the main series and show up in future series and get their own novels too. And it's, like, so good.
The prequel series, the prequel series is perfect for those people that like the school feel. The school
so the
feel where
prequel
it's like,
series is the finishing school series.
yeah.
Which is a finishing school that teaches you how to finish people off. It teaches you to be an assassin.
Yeah.
And a spy.
So it's like, what is it? Something in
Etiquette and espionage is the first one.
Petticoats and something, the second one.
Yeah, I can't remember what that one was.
Petticoats and
Poisons? No. Poisons was Poison and Protect was a novella.
Etiquette and espionage, curtsies and conspiracies, waistcoats and weaponry, and manners and mutiny.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I
Manners
like
and Mutiny.
Yeah.
So yeah, that one was the prequel series is a good one. It's definitely written for a younger audience, but still very well written, I would say. And then they have the sequel series, which is the Custard Protocol, which I can't get into too much because it's a bit of a spoiler for the actual series.
Yeah.
But that's the good thing about that one is you have, like, the two main characters start off on, like, the first two books, I would say. And then the next book focuses on another character, but it's still the same story and it's still the same characters, just a bit more focus on this person's personal, like, plot. And then the fourth one does the same thing, where it's like, it changes the person, but it's still the same people in the same overall plot.
Normally, I don't like books that do that because I fall in love, like, oh my god, Brandon Sanderson and I need to have a serious conversation because the Skyward series has that where they just, like, it starts off with these characters and I'm like, oh my god, I love all these characters. Goes to book 2 and I'm like, oh, they just threw away all of these characters from book 1. Here's all these new characters. And I was like, oh, and then by the end, I'm just like, I love you all. So hopefully it's not to the point where I could just love everybody and not be disappointed.
Well, that's the thing too, is that, I mean, they give you all the characters up front.
Okay.
But it's like, here's all the, saying like it's 4 characters, let's say. It's all 4 characters are together and part of this adventure.
Throughout?
Yeah, throughout it. And then it's like, basically we're focusing on these 2 right now in this one, and their romance and their struggles and all of that stuff. And then we got the third character that was still in it, but a bit more of a side character. Now she's more of the main character and the other ones are the side characters.
Ooh.
And it's
okay,
kind
that
of
does sound fun.
Yeah.
As long as they're all in it together and I can love them all.
They're all in it together.
That's all I care about.
So hopefully we've convinced you guys to give this series a go. And if you have, please tell us your thoughts and comments and let us know how you felt about any of these series that we've talked about. So we want to hear from you guys, what your guys' favorite books are. And if you have books that are similar to this, please convince us to read them.
Yes. All right. So I think we will finish off 2 things that we have to do to finish off, which is 1, what is the book that we are reading next? Because we've talked about books that we're reading. What are we reading next?
I'm going to be reading Sir Herwood and Mr. Fitz Stories of the Witch Knight and the Puppet Sorcerer by Garth Nix, who's my all-time favorite author. And for audiobook, I will be starting Bone Crier's Dawn by Catherine Purdy. And that's the sequel to Bone Crier's Moon.
I have not read either of those, so tell me how they are. So I have to read our book for on Kindle,
Our book exchange
book. So I'm going to read Beneath the Haunting Sea by Joanna Ruth Meyer. And then for audiobook, I have on my next to read for Audible Small Favors by Erin A. Craig. And she did the House of Salt and Sorrow book. And I think it was one of our Owl Crate books that we had read. And I liked that book, so I figured I'd try it. Other than that, I don't know anything else about it.
I started a book a long time ago that I am going to now go back to and finish because I started it while I was reading like 2 other books. But I started reading Neverwhere by Neil Gaiman, and I need to actually go back and finish that because I did enjoy it a lot while I was reading it. I was just one of those, I had a lot of books going on at that time. So this one I'm going to just focus on that one.
Awesome.
Do you have a quote for us, Marissa?
I do have a quote. Let me pull up my quote. You never know what you can do until you try, and very few try unless they have to.
Oh, that's perfect for
I
today's
like this
podcast.
one. That's a perfect one.
Okay.
Until
Thanks
next
for
time.
joining us.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye, guys.